In this video, we're going to be going through the worst to first of the Vintage Collection Skiff Guards, or any other character that is related to Jabba and Jabba's Palace and the Katana. Hey there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bosk's Bounty video. As I mentioned in the intro, we are going to be doing a worst to first of the Skiff Guards, or any other figure that is related to Jabba the Hutt and the Jabba's Palace. So we've had a lot of those figures recently this year from the Return of the Jedi. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get all the figures that originally came out in 2010 to 2013 from the original Vintage Collection run, and all the ones that we've managed to get this year, and put them into sort of a list of worst to first. So it's going to be really difficult to decide which figures are the best and which are the worst, because they're all pretty good. And I'm going to be judging on card backs and figures, so they have to have both of that combination to get to the very top of the list. So if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing by hitting that little subscribe button, and all of that will help my channel grow, so thank you very much. Alright, okay, so first in my list, and this one comes bottom of the list unfortunately, it is Kotoba, the Skiff Guard. Now, as I've mentioned before, this list is very difficult to do. It's very difficult to decide because there is so many decent figures, but somebody has to come last. And this figure's just, for me, it comes last. The card back's a bit weird. It's got this like green tint to it. And I don't know, when I just look at my figures, this one is one that doesn't really stick out for me. It's not really one of my favourites. So out of all the Skiff Guards and Jabba's Palace goons, Kotoba is in last place. Just so you know, he is VC56. Next on the list is Tasha. Now this figure is so far down the list purely because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's a repack of a Black Series figure, so we actually did have him before. And two, in terms of the figure, there are a few little things that are a bit niggly for people. So for example, the helmet is a little bit on the small side if you compare it to the image there. You know, this is a really big helmet that goes right across, almost past his shoulders. And as you can see, actually on the figure, it's a little sort of pea head almost. So that is the reason why this guy is so far down the list. I can't grumble about the card back. It's one of the newer ones that we've got. Lovely blue sky there. You can really have that scene of the skiffs and everything. He didn't have a massive role in the film either. He's sort of like a background character. And for those reasons, Tasha is in 11th place. In 10th place, we do have Nikto, the Skiff Guard Nikto. And again, it's so difficult to put these figures in any type of list. But this is my opinion. And I'm sure you have your own opinion of where these figures sit and which one's the best and which ones are not so good. So let me know in the comments below. I'll be glad to know your opinions on this. But Nikto, for me, he is further down the list. The card back's great and everything, but I just think there are better figures to come, as you'll probably see. The figure's pretty good as it is as well. Nice sculpt and everything, but yeah, I don't really have much of a reason as to say why this guy is so far down the list, other than that there is other figures which I just happen to prefer. In 10th place, we have Reese. So this figure came in the Jabba's Palace playset, and it pains me to put this figure so far down, but the reasons for it is it is another repack. We've already had the figure in the Black Series, and I can't actually say anything bad about the card back. You've got a image there that's straight from the movie. You've got the lovely green thing there. I would say that the font is too small for the words, like Reese. Look, you need a magnifying glass to see that. So he is VC137, so he's one of the newer figures. And yep, I just think that there's better figures from the Jabba's goons and Jabba's Skiff Guards and what have you. So that's Reese. He's in position 10. And in 9th place, we have the Klaatu Skiff Guard. Now again, this is a fairly new figure as well. We only got him at the beginning of the year. He's VC135. He came out in the Yak Face wave. And basically again, you know, you can't really say too many bad things about the figure. The one thing that perhaps is a little bit odd is the nappy. So he's obviously got the ball jointed hips. A lot of people prefer the swivel hips. I actually like ball jointed hips if they're done correctly. But unfortunately, because this guy's wearing like an all-in-one costume, it kind of makes him look like he's got this like nappy on. So it's a little bit weird, but the facial sculpt and facial paint on this figure are lovely. But I think the card back lets it down slightly because it does, they've had to treat it with Photoshop basically to get it right. I think the story was when this figure was being produced that they didn't have the source material or something like that, which is stunning in my opinion. They should have all the material they should ever need to be able to create these card backs from the films and the old Kenner stock and what have you. But the image there, it looks a little bit photoshopped for me. So therefore, Klaatu the Skiff Guard is in 9th position. Straight on to 7th place, and we have Weequay the Skiff Master. So this guy was VC48. Now, the reason this figure is slightly lower than the other Weequay that we got is because the other Weequay was pretty much like the vintage figure from the old Kenner days. So we actually had that figure back in the day, and that's why I like it a little bit more than this Weequay. That's not taking anything away from this Weequay. It's a great looking figure. They got some great facial sculpt, great paint, some great weathering on his top and everything. The image is great, straight from the movie. Absolutely everything's great about it. I've even got an unpunched card, as you can see there. Although, as you can see, this one I might have to open up because I do not own this figure loose. And my card's got a bit of a veining and a bit of a fold there. So I might have to open this figure up to get him on my barge when I do my barge video. But yeah, this guy goes into 7th place. But obviously it's getting very difficult to split them now because we're getting to that sort of near onto that top 5 now. So 7th place for Weequay the Skiff Master, but still a great figure. And talking of Weequays, we do have the actual Weequay in 6th position. So as I mentioned before, this one I just prefer it slightly more to the Weequay Skiff Master. It's the original sort of Kenner card back. This is the figure that we had back in the day, just obviously updated. Great looking figure and everything. So he just pips it for me from the other Weequay, but you know, great looking card back, VC 107. And as I say, he's in 6th place, so obviously we're getting to the top 5 now. Incredibly difficult to split them, but I'm going to attempt it. That's why I'm doing this video. I like doing these videos. I like doing list style videos. I think you guys like them as well. But I'm sure you can understand that basically to try and whittle it down to these top 5 now, anybody could have these in any type of order now. So this is just my opinion. So let me know in the comments below what your opinion is and which one's your favourite. All right, so let's get on to the top 5. All right, so in 5th place, we have one of the new figures from the Skiff Guard 3-pack. It is Vism. And the reason why this one is not further up the list is because it is another repack from the Black Series. And also because part of the Black Series version is actually better than the one that they put on this Vintage Collection one. So, for example, the colour of the gun there, that's like just a plain silver. If you were to look at the one that came in the Black Series, it is all nicely weathered and like a gunmetal grey colour. And this one just looks a bit sort of bright silver to me. So, other than that, you cannot moan about the card back. We've got the nice mustard colour. Lovely image of Vism there on top of the katana and the sail barge. He is VC 153. Back of the card, you know, boring back of cards, aren't they? So, but anyway, he is in the top 5 because it is a great figure. I do like the Skiff Guards, and it is a lovely, lovely card back. So, in fact, the card back is probably actually better than the figure for me. So, he's in position 5. Let's move on to 4th place. And in 4th place, we have the Gomorian Guard. So, admittedly, he's not one of the Skiff Guards, but he is related to Jabba's palace and Jabba the Hutt. So I did mention at the start of the video that this video was going to include figures and aliens and whatever that were connected to Jabba the Hutt. So we're not doing figures like Leia Bouche because she's a human, she's one of the goodies. This is all about Jabba's palace goons, his entourage, his Skiff Guards, all that kind of thing. And obviously only including figures that are in the Vintage Collection. So the Gomorian Guard, he is in 4th place and deservedly so. It is a great figure. You've got the lovely green background. Stunning figure as well, loose. If you've got this figure loose, absolutely amazing. One drawback about this figure is the little headdress thing, his helmet thing. Always seems to fall off mine. Really annoying. But obviously if you've got the katana and the skiffs or Jabba's palace, then you're probably going to want a couple of these guys loose. This one was VC21. As you can see, it's the original one from back in, let's have a look at the date, 2010. Obviously, it was re-released this year, which is great because obviously people with the barge and the Jabba's palace are going to want this figure loose. So thank you very much, Hasbro, for doing that for us. As you can see, this one's lovely, it's unpunched. Anyway, that's the Gomorian Guard. We're up to the top 3 now. This is Gomorian Guard. He's in 4th place. And in 3rd place, it is the final figure from the Skiff Guard 3-pack. And of course, it is Verdane. Now, this is my favourite figure from the 3-pack. I love the green background. I love the image on the card. And bonus is that it's a brand new figure that we've never had before. Admittedly, it is a kit bash of other figures. So obviously, we've got the same head sculpt as other figures. They've used the legs and the body of other figures. But still, it is a great looking figure with some great detailing. And at the end of the day, it is great to get a nice new figure for the Skiff and the Katana. So this one is VC152. Stunning looking card, great figure. And that is the reason why he is in 3rd place. And straight into 2nd place goes Salt Murray, or Yak Face. And the main reason why this figure is so high up in my list is purely because of the actual figure itself. It's a stunning, stunning figure. If you haven't got this figure, I highly recommend you getting this figure. You just have to look at the head sculpt and the facial paint and everything that they've got on there. The detailing on his fur. He's got soft goods, which we all love. Nice looking weapon. He just looks great. And obviously you've got the added bonus that he is also packed on that special Power of the Force card that you get with the Katana. Now obviously I do have that one, I just haven't got it out for the purposes of this video, but obviously you get this figure twice, which is awesome. So that is Yak Face. He is in 2nd position, so that only leaves one figure left. Who's in 1st place? Let's get on to 1st place. And in 1st place we have Woof, and I'm just going to give you my reasons why this figure is my favourite figure out of all of the Jabba the Hutt entourage or Skiff Guards or Jabba's Palace aliens that we have on the Vintage Collection cards. And it's purely because obviously this figure was an original Vintage Kenner figure, which is a bonus. They've used a great image of him there, but the figure itself for me is one of the best figures that we've had, basically. So you've got such lovely soft goods around his waist there, great facial sculpt, great paintwork, everything about this figure, the Palace Blaster, everything about this figure is great in my opinion. Now obviously it has been extremely difficult to rate these figures from 12 to 1, worst to first. There is no bad figures necessarily, but I've had to give them a rating and I've had to give them an order, and in my opinion Woof hits the top. So if we were to get figures like him every single time of that quality, then I don't think anyone could moan. He is VC24, so you know, 2010 again, such a long time ago now that we were getting figures of this quality. There's the original Kenner one there, absolutely classic figure. And actually if you want that figure, vintage figure, he's one of the cheaper ones that you can probably pick him up for 80 quid, something like that, on a really nice Return of the Jedi card. But in terms of modern figures, this guy is right up there for me as one of the best figures that we've got. Unfortunately, I do not have him loose. I only have him on this lovely unpunched Return of the Jedi card. I will need to get him loose because obviously I do want him in my Jabba's Palace. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just before I go, I do want to show you one more figure that didn't make the list. And that's this guy, Lando Calrissian in his Skiff Guard disguise. Now I know I said I wasn't going to have human goodies or whatever, but I just had to give this bloke an honourable mention because for me, this is, again, a stunning figure, and I just have to thank Hasbro for giving us this figure this year. They sorted out his height issue from the Sandstorm version. The facial sculpt and facial paint is great. Great helmet in the separate bubble at the top, which I absolutely love. Image from the original Kenner card. It doesn't really get much better than this. So, I know I wasn't going to mention the human characters and what have you, but this guy has to have a special mention. So, anyway, that is my worst to first of the Jabba's Skiff Guards, or his goons, his entourage, whatever you want to call him. Any character that was connected to Jabba the Hutt that we have on a vintage style card. There was 12 of them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends. Hit that like button down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.